Welcome to Was, the podcast exclusively for people who want to make like a tree and get out of here. We are your hosts as always. I'm Nick.
And I'm Andrew LZ.
Hey, you got the quote this week.
Oh yeah, I mean that one's easy. That one's the really easy one.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I watched two of my favorite movies yesterday.
Ooh.
Thinking that we were possibly going to be also doing the recording this yesterday, but we are recording on Monday, which on Labor Day. But yeah, I watched two of them. I didn't watch the other two because I'm pretty familiar with them. I'm not as familiar with one of them as much as I thought, but it's fine. But I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
We've got a few movies to talk about from 1989 today.
Yeah. What did you watch this week?
What I watched this last week, a lot of sports, man. I watched Cardinals baseball. They've been pretty good so far. This month as well. August was real good, so hopefully September continues that trend. We did lose today on Labor Day, but we play again tomorrow. Let's see what happens. College football
started. Yes,
is back. Three things I should say that I'd like to state for the state of college football. First and foremost, the NCAA should just die.
Yes.
Like it just needs to die.
Yes.
Two, as I watched what seemed to be 14 of College Game Day in the morning on Saturday.
Oh God, why would you do that to yourself?
I have to say they are just basically propping up Lee Corso.
I know that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think it's time to let Lee Corso go to the retirement home in the sky or whatever it is.
Oh God.
And then the third piece, both of our teams won this week. The almost the like opener of all of college football was Mizzou. We looked pretty terrible in the first quarter, but then in the second, third, and fourth quarter we did turn it on, and we won by quite a lot. Like we scored like 52 points or something like that. But Michigan
looked all right. We looked all right.
Looked all right. They looked outstanding on both sides of the ball.
Our defense looks a lot better than our offense. I wanted a lot more out of our offense, but we're just figuring it out. Cade McNamara, unfortunately, I think is not going to retain his starting spot because next week JJ McCarthy takes over, and then they're going to make the final decision for week 3. But I think JJ McCarthy basically kind of
played himself out,
played himself in.
Yeah, or played himself in. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Another observation of college football: at least neither of us were rooting for UNC
or
Oregon.
No, who lost last night on literally a block kick? LSU. Yes.
Yeah. Only SEC team not to win their opener.
Oh my! I only caught the last 5 minutes of that game, and it was the most exciting bit I'd ever seen. Yeah. It was awesome.
But so lots of college football though. I also watched last week's episode of She-Hulk.
A fun episode.
For anyone who is griping about
She-Hulk twerking.
I
don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, and how, quote, Stan Lee is rolling around in his grave or whatever. Stan Lee created a character named Stripperella. You all can go to hell. It was a fun episode. I finished Sandman. In honor of yesterday's fantasy football draft, I did watch a few episodes of The League this last week, and that show holds up 100%.
I know. I really want to write a new series of that so bad. I just have to gain the structure and ability, which proves to be a kind of the biggest issue. Yeah. But ability. But yesterday we did draft our fantasy football teams
12th season, man,
of the Steel Reserve Cup, the
12th season,
the league that I put together, which I unfortunately named the Steel Reserve Cup, which requires me to drink a a 24 ouncer of Steel Reserve every year, and it is. I'm not a drinker. This is the only bit of alcohol I've had since last year during the draft.
Yep.
So, but
trade has already been made. The first trade of the season.
Did you make that trade?
I did make the trade.
Oh, I why'd you even ask then?
I wanted another perspective, and I went with my gut. And
Okay.
I took Elijah Mitchell.
I respect it.
For Keenan Allen. Hey, listen, I've got wide receiver depth at the moment, so I'm going to use that to try to at least get a second starting running back.
You like my mainly aging wide receivers? Yes. I have Julio Jones, which, hey, you know what? If he becomes Julio Jones of 3 years ago,
yeah,
I'm set. But then that's a tall order.
But yes, football season is upon us.
Yeah.
The last thing that I watched was Jurassic World Dominion. It's streaming on Peacock already, and
not in my house.
I gotta tell you, it's not great, Dan.
Not in my house, because I've been on Peacock a lot lately because I've been watching. Whenever I'm in the living room with my sister, we watch Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm by myself and I'm just killing time, I'm watching Superstore. After that, I'm going to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine just because they showed a preview and I just kind of felt like watching it. And also watching a lot of wrestling.
Yes.
Which, speaking of wrestling, Clash at the Castle was on Saturday, which was awesome. It really was. The Sheamus versus Gunther match, which I texted you about, which I think you definitely need to watch, was a belter in the best way possible. It was amazing. The Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns match was really good. Overall, it was just a great card, really great card. I enjoyed so many of the matches, and honestly, like people should watch Clash at the Castle. It was a good pay-per-view, good premium live event. And then also yesterday, NXT held Worlds Collide because NXT UK is shutting down for a year to become NXT Europe. So they're merging all those titles from NXT UK over to NXT, which Mandy Rose had a hell of a match against Mako Satomura and Blair Davenport. Great match. I love Mandy Rose because I mean she's an incredibly pretty woman, but the thing is she shows like no fear in the ring. Like literally, like whenever you're a champion, especially if you're a heel champion, sometimes you'll hide like and not want to be part of the match. Basically whenever Michael Sotomura was thrown out of the ring by Blair Davenport and Mandy was just still in the ring, Mandy was like coaxing Blair to come into the ring to fight her. And then Michael Satomura, who's been a wrestler for 25 years, Mandy just showing no fear and wanting to just fight with her. So that's what kind of stands out for me. Like she's a good wrestler, but it's the heart that she brings to her matches. So I was really happy with that. The big strong boy Tyler Bate versus Braun Breaker was a good match too. And unfortunately the big strong boy Tyler Bate did not win. So
the big strong boy is his name?
Well, no, that's just one of his nicknames.
Okay.
He won the NXT UK tournament a couple years ago whenever NXT UK was first starting out. He won it at 19. He's a big strong boy. He's a big strong boy.
Yeah.
But he's only like 5'10", but he's a big strong boy.
Gotcha.
So Tyler Bate, and also which led me to rewatch his match from NXT Takeover Chicago from like 2016 against Pete Dunne, and that's one of the best matches I've ever watched in my entire life. So, and then did you happen to watch Rings of Power?
I have not yet. Ooh. I am holding off on that. I wanted to finish Sandman first, which I have done. So I'm going to be diving into the old Rings of Power starting tomorrow.
Okay, it's beautiful. Galadriel is awesome. The actor who plays her,
Mhm.
she's terrific. I really like her a lot. I don't remember really any names because I'm also not a person who remembers names, and Galadriel is the only name I can really remember.
Mhm.
But there's also a character named Nori who's dealing
I mean,
with
I
a
mean,
character.
Elrond's there.
No, he's not. Oh yeah, Elrond is there. Elrond is
Yeah.
there. Um, but that's about it. As far as characters that we know from the original Lord of the Rings franchise,
Hmm.
those are the only two characters I believe we know. There's a
Yeah.
character that we think could be Gandalf, but I actually think it's probably Sauron. So,
Gotcha.
uh, which I like how they're kind of establishing all these characters
Hmm.
first because a lot of people had a lot of issues with the first episode because it was a little slower. But they're establishing an entire new age
Well,
of
I was
this
about to say
world.
this is not the third age of Middle Earth. This
This
is
is
the
the second
second
age.
age.
So
This takes place like 3,500 years before the Lord of the Rings, before
yeah.
the Hobbit, and all of that stuff.
So
So very
it,
different story.
yeah, and I like it, but like I said, the girl who plays Galadriel
Hmm.
is awesome. I like her a lot. I like what they're doing with a lot of these newer characters that obviously we don't know anything about. Elrond has a really amazing scene in the second episode with a dwarf. I'm not. That's not. Remember, we're talking about Lord of the Rings, so like an actual mythological dwarf. He has an amazing scene with one of them in the second episode. So the first two episodes terrific. I can't wait for Friday for the third episode.
I'm excited. I'm excited to start it
Yeah.
for sure.
Anything else you watch?
Nope. I think I've hit everything.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with our favorite movies of 1989. Hey, welcome back. Hi.
We're so happy you listened to those awesome, awesome was the word I was looking
I
for.
wonder what they
Awesome
were.
commercials. One was most likely in Spanish.
Possibly. And that's probably my fault because my last name's Spanish. And for some reason, Spreaker thinks that everything that with my last name needs to be associated with something Spanish. So who knows? But let's get into our favorite movies of 1989. Do you want
Sounds
to
good.
recap real quick?
Sure, we'll recap. At number 10 for me was Ron Howard's Parenthood. Number 9, Major League. Number 8, Lethal Weapon 2. Number 7, which I believe was also Drew's number 3, Uncle Buck.
Yes.
And then number 6, which was also Drew's number 6, I believe, The Burbs.
Which I actually just got back from the rental store and rented The Burbs.
Ooh, on Blu-ray nonetheless.
That's all they had it in.
That's all they.
Which thank God. I need
Yeah.
I need the clarity on my Dynex TV in my room.
Really needed that 4K upgrade, you know?
If only. If only. But for me, my number 10 was a Brian Usna movie called Society. Which did you look up anything from that?
I did.
Okay. Perfect.
I wish I had not.
I know. Number 9 was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which was also Nick's number 4. Number 8 for me was The Little Mermaid. Number 7 was Glory. Number 6 was The Burbs, and also Nick mentioned that my number 3 was Uncle Buck. So we're not going to talk about Uncle Buck. I mean, we could.
We
and
could.
I'm more
we
than
could,
willing.
We could still talk about it for sure.
I think I'd just be talking about all the points I made in the last one.
All right. What was your number 5?
Okay, we're going with me. Ugh.
Yeah.
He is Vigo.
Hey! Yay!
It's Vigo the Carpathian. It's of course it's Ghostbusters 2. What number is this on your list? Did it not make it?
You're not going to believe this, but
my God.
It did not make my top 10 list of
Okay,
1989.
I accept it.
I think because 84's Ghostbusters is
it's
literally
superior.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Like if you did all time, it would be probably a top 5, if not higher movie. Ghostbusters 2 is still funny as hell. and I'm super excited to hear.
I'm just dealing with you not having
Yeah,
Ghostbusters 2 on your.
super excited to hear why it is number 5 on your list, though.
No, because it's obviously it's the Ghostbusters, man.
Yeah, yeah.
uh it, obviously it's not as good as Ghostbusters. It's not as good. It takes some wild leaps. It's like most of the jokes don't land as well as they do in Ghostbusters, which is fine because you're not going to achieve perfection twice. You're not.
No.
And everything, because of the ability of Ghostbusters, you already have these amazing characters. So we're not really having to set up any of these new characters.
What happens if we take away the puppy?
I don't remember the line.
Egon. No, it's just
Oh,
the puppy test.
okay. It's the Corellis. I put them away for murder. No, it's I don't know. I this also wild jump in style for Rick
Yes.
Moranis and Annie Potts primarily.
Super weird jump
But
on that one.
but also we do get. I went to law school at night.
That's fine, Lewis. We were arrested at night.
I know. But then they also tried to recreate this scene with yes, this man has no shit.
Yes, this man has no dick.
Yeah, this man has no dick. They try and kind of recreate that scene in the mayor's office in the second
A little
one,
bit,
too.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
like I said, this movie is not as strong. Like I'm basing this primarily off the characters that we know and love.
The courtroom scene, or really what leads to the courtroom scene, and in the courtroom scene itself, like them drilling into the street.
Yes.
And
then,
that's a very fun scene, but the courtroom scene is incredibly good, and I give Rick Moranis an amazing amount of props for that scene alone. The just when he and Bill Murray, when Bill Murray is basically leading his line of questioning, his own line of questioning.
yeah.
That is spectacularly good. And just the lines that Rick Moranis has, you know, the
And
law
also,
school at night.
isn't he also being fed like words to say by Peter?
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. He's like leading his own questioning.
Okay, yeah.
The estrangement order, the blue thing I got from her, is still one of my favorite things ever. So there are some great things in this movie. The toaster.
Yeah, I have the toaster dancing, and then I'm gonna sell these. But what happens with what happens if people get into an argument and eat someone's hand? Well, we'll put a disclaimer,
put a warning label on it, and it'll be the old man-eating toaster trick.
Yeah. Obviously, this movie goes a little bit off the rails with the giant, with the Statue of Liberty walking down Broadway to the sounds of, I don't remember that song because it's not as good as Ghostbusters.
Jackie Wilson.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's not as good as Ghostbusters. It's
lifting me higher, man.
But how did Dana go from being a concert violinist, or what was she a cellist or violinist?
She was a cellist.
Okay. To a historical art restorer.
Restoring art, yes.
Yeah. How did she go from those two jobs?
That is a very good question that I have no answers to.
Also, who's the father? And also, is it the tub that tried to eat the kid? I can't remember the kid's name either.
Oscar,
thank you. I don't know, but it's just a fun movie. It's like I said, it's not as good as Ghostbusters, but it established a bunch of the stuff that we get in Afterlife, like the bookstore,
Raise a Cult,
which Winston's still paying for. So
I also enjoy the line that I so very much enjoy. And just before his head died, he said, "Death is but a door, time is but a window. I'll be back."
Yeah, I mean, I really wish I could have said a little bit more about this movie. It's one of those movies I haven't watched in a couple of years, so I'm not as memorable with it. It's not one of the two movies I did watch this week from my list, but I don't know. I feel like I still needed to mention Ghostbusters too.
Oh, 100%.
Unlike
No,
you,
100%.
I
It's just outside my list. It
I know, I
really
get
is.
it. Oh no, I've got plenty of honorable mentions, so I get it. All right, hey, what's your number five?
My number five is a John Hughes written and John Hughes produced film. May not have been expecting this. It comes late in the year, both upon release as well as what we celebrate with it. I watch this every year at Christmas time. It's National Lampoon's Christmas
Oh,
Vacation.
okay, shit, I wrote down the wrong John Hughes movie. Okay, yeah, no, this is my number two.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Which fuck.
So this is, in my opinion, out of all the vacation movies, this is Chevy Chase's best.
Yes, absolutely.
By far his best.
Not even a question. Not even a question.
We get kind of our first look at Julie Louis-Dreyfus as well, which she plays just a great character, asshole in this film. We get crazy Randy Quaid doing crazy Randy Quaid things.
But we also get my favorite line that I still use out of context damn near every day. I don't know, Margot.
I love it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite line from the entire movie. It's one of my favorite lines in all of history of cinema. I love Christmas Vacation, but it's the I don't know, Margot is my favorite line.
We get my favorite combo of children. We get Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
As the kids in this one, which I still love that they change.
Oh yeah, consistently.
I
think only Anthony Michael Hall played the same character twice.
Yes, in Vacation and European Vacation, yes. I believe. And then we also get Brian Doyle Murray as the boss, which is fantastic. Give me somebody. Anybody.
Give me somebody while I'm waiting. This movie just full of amazing quotes. You serious, Clark? Shitter was full, and then sorry, been shitting bricks all night. Don't say that word. Sorry, shitting rocks.
We also.
It's a 1-year membership of the Jelly of the Month Club, Clark.
That's the gift that keeps on giving
the whole year.
Yeah. We get one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is when Chevy and Randy Quaid are in the store, and
yes,
and Beverly D'Angelo has already told Chevy that we should get the kids,
some gifts.
Eddie's kids some gifts because they don't have anything, and
Eddie's just piling.
And he's like, "You sure about that, Clark?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course, Eddie." And then he already has this list drawn up that he gives him, and at the end, he goes, "Now, I want you to get yourself something real nice, Clark."
Also the best part of that entire scene is with Randy Quaid piling dog food into this the cart, and then
wet and dry food, by the way.
And then Chevy just puts on like a couple light bulbs on one of them, and immediately Randy Quaid throws like another giant, like an old Roy bag of dog food. It's just perfect. It's so perfect. No, I think probably my underrated scene in the movie is when Chevy is at the mall and is shopping, and with the lingerie saleswoman, and look no lines, Russ. Wait, God rest. It's I'm getting it from my wife. God rest her soul. Wait, is she dead? No, unfortunately.
It's so good. This is, like I said, by far Chevy's
Greatest performance.
Best performance in any of these movies.
The tree scene at the beginning when they go underneath the semi, it's so perfect. And then they go and then they have to escape by going into a ravine.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Then they're going for the tree because apparently they have to go chop down their own tree. And Audrey's eyes being frozen.
Yes.
So but they also forgot the axe.
Yes.
It was just, it's literally just joke piled on top of joke, piled on top of joke. And it's done in a way that's not upsetting because it's paced perfectly throughout the movie.
Yes, it is a exceedingly well-paced film. And no, I absolutely adore this movie. There's a reason why it's so high on my list. I legitimately watch this every single year without fail. It is by far my favorite Christmas movie. I do not think it gets better than this for Christmas movies.
It's between this and I watch Krampus every single year on, like, no matter what.
When Aunt Bethany starts singing the Star Spangled Banner at the end as Santa Claus is flying through the air.
Yeah.
And then just says play ball at the end. I fucking lose it.
We got you the perfect gift. You didn't have to get me anything. Bethany, he guessed it. Where's Eddie? Doesn't he usually eat these goddamn things? Not recently, Clark. He read that squirrels were high in cholesterol. Like I said, this movie's just full of amazing, like the sled scene has some amazing lines too. But one of the best parts is when the squirrel chases the cat. When the squirrel is being chased by the dog.
Yes.
But then it also leads to the cat going underneath the chair and taking the lights with it.
Yes.
If that thing had 9 lives, it'd just spin them all. It's just, which leads to the shitter, like the scene with the shitter is full. Like I said, everything is just paced perfectly in this movie. It's a perfectly made comedy. So
it is, and like you said, it's one joke on top of the next, but it's done in such a way where it doesn't like destroy any of the jokes that were immediately before it or immediately after it. So I absolutely adore this film. Chevy at the peak of his powers. Beverly D'Angelo doesn't look like a reanimated corpse yet, so that's always good.
And she was incredibly funny too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, she was funny in Vacation. I don't remember European Vacation very well. I watched Vegas Vacation a lot. That one was actually the movie I watched the most growing up.
I think that one gets shit on for no reason. I think it's still a ton of fun.
It's so fun, so fun.
Nick Papagiorgio is such a great situation,
and also the fact that it's played by Ethan Embry is the best part. But also the scene with the lights changes completely as an adult because that outlet 100%. Is a literal thing of nightmares. But as a kid, you're just laughing because they can't figure out which light switch works.
Yes.
But as an adult, you're looking at that outlet and all you're thinking is
someone's going to die.
Yes, an electric bill. Which also, I mean, the movie does establish as soon as they turn on those lights, the electric just like that
skyrockets.
Yeah. But I love this movie. I'm happy. It's what number was it for you? It was
number 5 for me, 2 for you.
Yeah, I mean because it's just that funny of a movie. I mean,
it's ubiquitous. It, like I said, it's my favorite Christmas movie of all time. It's just a fun fucking movie. Period.
Yeah. All right, so your number 4 was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which leads it to me again, and I'm wondering if I don't even know. Is this on your list? I hope. God, it's Back to the Future Part 2. Is it on your list?
That is number 3 for me.
Okay. God, I was getting worried.
That is number 3 for me.
You know, when I was a kid, this movie this movie was better than Back to the Future 1 for me, because I thought they did, and I still do. The amount of the attention to detail in this movie to recreate scenes from the first movie is just incredibly impressive to me. And it always was from when I was a kid too. It's just an incredibly impressive recreation of those scenes with very good like timing. And I feel like it's a pretty tight script. It's not as good as Back to the Future, but it's a tight script.
Yeah.
Everything that happens has a reason or is established later. So.
And this is one of those situations where this and the eventual ending of the trilogy, the part 3, were filmed back to back.
Yes.
So I think that obviously helped a lot with all the things that were being built upon
for the third. Yeah.
For the third. We get more of everything that we loved. We get more Doc and Marty. We get more Biff and Griff and old Biff.
If Tom Wilson isn't as good as he is, Biff is not a great character.
No.
But Tom Wilson portrays that character perfectly.
Biff in alternate 1984 A Biff, if you will. That's just Donald Trump, is what that is.
As it turns out, we've been running from Biff's future for the last 6 years.
Yes.
We've been running. As it turns out, I think all like mega Republicans are all just huge fans of Back to the Future Part 2.
But they're fans of the parts of the movie that they're not supposed to be fans of.
Exactly. Yeah. As it turns out, we just didn't know that they were just huge Back to the Future 2 fans.
Man, I wish Biff would have gotten that sports almanac. We get a new Jennifer. Claudia Wells was replaced by Elizabeth Shue, we don't get a lot of Jennifer anyway. We get future Jennifer, which is now technically past Jennifer.
Yeah,
but we get a little bit of future Jennifer. We get Leah Thompson, who is just the best.
She is the best. Yeah. I mean, I will fight people for Leah Thompson. That's how much I love Leah Thompson.
Yeah, but I think much like in the first movie, Michael J. Fox obviously carries this. His performance in this is just fantastic.
Yeah.
But I do like that we get a lot more Doc in this one. And I think Christopher Lloyd really just shows out in parts of this, especially when he's explaining alternate 1984 to Marty. I really like that scene. It's freaking Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
when the music hits that little fluttering at the very beginning of the movie, that it's just exactly like you're in for it. Yep. And it's awesome. Also, hey, Nick, the Cubbies won against Florida.
Yeah.
Florida has a team. Yeah. But I really love this. They had really high hopes for the year 2015. They really
did. I really want my flying car.
Also, they couldn't quite figure out the fashion of the future, nor could they find out figure out the fashion of alternate 1984. They couldn't figure out the fashion of the uber rich. They
the fashion of the uber rich is apparently just, in the words of Marty, big. No, the future, like obviously we are now in 2022, which is in the future from where this movie goes into its future, and it's swing and a miss, guys.
I mean, I will say, at least I
want a hoverboard.
At least they throw you into the future and don't really sugarcoat things. They just throw you straight in and expect you to know exactly what's happening. So
The dehydrated pizza is pretty cool. I wish that was a thing.
with the Black and Decker hydrator or something.
Yes.
What's taking so long? And also,
When it's done, can you just shove it in my mouth, Grandma?
oh my god, Michael J. Fox playing his own daughter is the worst in the world. Like it's a lot of like really deep head and neck movements.
Yes.
Which I don't know why he felt like that's how women move.
I mean, maybe it was just his Parkinson's. I don't know.
Ugh.
Uh, no, but Michael J. Fox does play not only present day Marty, but future Marty,
Past-
and Marty's
Marty.
kid, and past Marty. So
two of Marty's kids.
yeah. So he plays a lot of he gets his
time.
He gets his time in. No, this was a sequel that I thought went exceedingly well. Obviously, it is the third highest grossing film of 1989. It made $332 million off of a $40 million budget, and they obviously made a sequel to it.
Yeah, I can't believe they justified
which, in my opinion, gets shit on for no reason. Back to the Future 3 is a fun-ass movie.
I'll have to rewatch it, but I don't remember. I don't have a lot of fond memories of Back to the Future Part 3. I can't believe they justified a sequel to the second one by how good Marty is at crack shot.
Yes.
Well, I mean, and then later in the movie, I wrote that joke before later in the movie.
You have to use your hands?
It's like a baby's toy. Elijah Wood. But then I wrote that joke before I remembered they justify them going into the past because Doc always wanted to go to like 1855.
He always wanted to go to the Old West, man.
Yeah.
But remember, he can't wear any synthetics.
Yeah. They really, I will say, because I think only Doc did it in the first movie, where he runs towards the camera and then runs away from the camera and then comes back. And then Marty joined in on that in this movie. So yeah, which is just a fun nod to itself. So
absolutely, it's got very meta properties for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm happy this made your list because
you were a little terrified, weren't you?
A little bit. It might have been just the Steel Reserve talking, but because I finished it and no more for another year. So
no, God no.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. I think I was going to commercial too. So hey, welcome back. We already talked about my third favorite movie of 1989, which was Uncle Buck. And Nick's third favorite movie was Back to the Future 2, which we just talked about. So we're going to go to Nick's number 2 because my number 2 was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
My number 2 film may be a little outside the box. This is starred Robin Williams in the lead role. It is not a comedic movie. For those wondering, it is a very dramatic role. It takes place in the late 50s, where he is a new teacher at a all-male prep school in Vermont. It is called the Dead Poets Society.
Unfortunately, did not make my list. I am very fond of this movie, but unfortunately did not make my list, which I did put it onto yours. So
this movie is so freaking good. We get a lot of people know this scene, or excuse me, this movie from the scene
where Captain.
Yeah, where the students are standing on their desks and saying, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," which is a callback to a Walt Whitman poem. Like I said, this movie takes place in Vermont in the late 50s, where Robin Williams' character, Mr. Keating, is teaching them English literature. And it's just this story about him developing relationships with these young men, teaching them about pursuits that aren't just of the professional nature. A lot of these kids come from money, obviously, going to an all male boarding school, all male prep school. A lot of them have parents that anticipate that they will do the things that they want them to do in life. One of the characters, Neil, who, excuse me, uh, who is played by Robert Sean Leonard, who would later star in House. He takes this liking to poetry and to specifically like plays. And he actually takes a role as Puck in a local production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's kind of the impetus of this kind of going off the rails. I think it's a beautifully told story. It has humorous moments, but again, it's very dramatic. And Robin Williams is just showing out at this point. And the character that he creates in Mr. Keating is one that you would want your child to have in their lives, to teach them about pursuits that aren't just professional in nature, that it's about passion and about language. And I don't know, this movie is partly responsible for when I first went to college, becoming an English major. So it definitely pushed me in that way. This movie also stars a young Ethan Hawke, which was really cool to kind of see where he's going, because now he's just like a journeyman and does whatever he
cool
wants.
Shit. He's just doing cool shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish I could add more to this. I haven't watched this movie since high school, so it's been a while. But I remember being very moved. I mean, I feel like it's the same story for so many people. Just being very moved by Robin Williams' performance, because he's very earnest. He's very earnest in the performance. He's not, obviously he still has that charm that Robin almost couldn't turn off, but because Robin himself was also just a very passionate member of society, he brings that passion into this role of a teacher who's trying to make a difference. And like I said, you can't really turn off the Robin Williams charm very much. He succeeded in doing that from time to time, but this movie, it's still 1989. The man already establishing himself as not just a great comedic performer, but he's also an amazing dramatic performer. He transcends the box that they put comedians in, which
absolutely,
because he's one of the greatest comedians of all time, but he's also one of the greatest dramatic movie performers of all time. Like, he has three Oscar nominations, one win for dramatic performances, not just like I'm not shitting on Melissa McCarthy, but Melissa McCarthy she has two Oscar no, just one, because she didn't get it for Will You Ever Forgive Me. Her co-star got the nomination, which she's also very good in that movie. But Melissa McCarthy,
Robin Williams was nominated for an Oscar for this film.
This obviously
Good Morning Hunting, Vietnam,
Good Morning Vietnam,
and
Vietnam, the Fisher King. Okay. So I thought he only had three.
He won for Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting, which was amazingly deserved.
Yes.
But the cool thing about Dead Poets Society is that it also won the BAFTA for best film, and it did win an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. So this is an award-winning film. Like we just talked about, Robin Williams was nominated for this film. It's probably my favorite, bar none, performance by him. I think this character is just outstanding. And the fact that it was just a wholehearted success in every way, shape, and form. Box office, award season, the things that you can glean from it, even this far into the future. It's just a massively successful film.
Oh, I guess he had already been nominated for an Oscar for Good Morning Vietnam for
Yes.
1987.
Yeah.
So that was 2 years prior.
Yeah.
So my bad on that mistake. But yeah, I mean, he it's a really great movie. I remember really liking it, but I wish I could speak more on it. Obviously everybody remembers the "Oh Captain, My Captain" scene. I don't unfortunately remember why he's being fired from the boarding school or prep school.
So Neil's character, Kurtwood Smith, is his father. After Neil, I guess spoiler alert for a movie that's 33 years old.
I'm really wondering what spoiler awards are, and I kind of want one.
Yeah. After Neil commits suicide, Kurtwood basically goes and gets Mr. Keating fired. Robin Williams' character fired. Says there was inappropriate relationships between he and the boys, and he's gone. He's gone. And then the mathematics teacher, Dr. whatever, Hugo or something like that, takes over, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And that's where we get kids standing on the desk and "Oh Captain, My Captain."
I will say Saturday Night Live did a really great parody of this. I don't remember who I don't remember who the teacher was, but all the students starts they're not saying "Oh Captain, My Captain." I can't remember the phrase that they use, but as they're all standing on their desks to say that one line, Pete Davidson steps on his, and it's established earlier that there's a metal fan above him. And as soon as he stands up to start saying his bit of the speech, his head gets cut off. God. And just everybody in the classroom is just going insane. Oh, God. So, I mean, I would definitely suggest people, because that's the kind of, that's where I bring this podcast. We're talking about an amazingly earnest movie like Dead Poet Society, and I'm bringing up an SNL sketch where Pete Davidson gets his head cut off. So that's my level of intelligence.
Well, this is definitely a film that I think you should watch. Everyone should.
I mean, I should return to, because I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah. But yeah, my number 2 film, Dead Poet Society.
Yeah. I will say I also relate to this movie a little bit more than I'm leading on, because all my English teachers in high school were very influential to me. Like, because I wanted to be, I had already wanted to be a writer before that, but I had some great English teachers, and Miss Cerny is the one who really is one of those people who inspired me a lot. English teachers, they're great. I love them.
Absolutely.
All right. So that was your number 2. We already talked Dead Poet Society, and we already talked about my number 2, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Actually, yeah, let's go to my number 1, because I'm sure your number 1's better than mine.
I wouldn't go that far, but go on.
I stand by this because I watched this yesterday, and I'm so glad I did. My number 1 stars Rick Moranis, directed by Joe Johnston, also known for The Rocketeer, Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, but I mean, Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yep.
Written, I'm bringing these up for a reason. Stuart Gordon, Ed Naha, and Brian Yuzma. That's a name I didn't expect to say twice in this year, because he also directed Society. All wrote this movie, but it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, man. It's Rick Moranis. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. He's possibly coming back for the sequel movie / show starring Josh Gad, which I like Josh Gad, so I'm for it. He got a little too big too quick, but still love Josh Gad. He's a terrific performer. But Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I will say this movie's starring Rick Moranis, but the 4 kids are the main stars.
Oh yeah.
So
This was Joe Johnston's directorial debut as
Yes.
well.
Yeah. I had that written down. I don't know why I didn't say it, but yeah. What are your thoughts on this movie? Because I can go on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's definitely in my honorable mentions.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it
Um,
also your number one?
no,
Because you haven't said anything.
no. It's a ton of fun. It really is. Like you said, the kids are definitely the star of this film.
Yeah.
But Rick Moranis puts on a great
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the biggest role in this movie,
performance.
but he's very memorable. The kid, but like I said, the kids run the show, and then also I love Big Russ. He every single time I watch this movie, Amy's my favorite character as I've grown up because she kind of takes charge and is the one kind of moving them forward. But Big Russ, the father, who I can't remember his actual name, something Frewer,
Matt.
Matt, and also second time he's appeared on this list because he's Max Headroom and Back to the Future Part Two.
Yes.
But I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, they're my favorite parts because Matt Frewer is so good at the physical comedy, and it's just fun to watch him. So I like that a lot. But the set design of this movie is iconic. It's one of the
Oh
best
yeah.
I've ever seen. Grass has never looked cooler.
Neither
And
have ants.
this movie is a straight up horror. Okay, because I mean, the bumblebee chase is I think the first major kind of terrifying
Mhm.
part, which has like miniatures on it, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Actually, I love the stop motion in that. Um, it's
The lawnmower scene.
the lawnmower scene, but the worst part of this movie is that goddamn scorpion. That
Oh yeah.
goddamn scorpion who kills Auntie because Auntie, I was so sad watching him die because he gets cut in the back of the neck by the scorpion. I was so sad. So, but
The oatmeal cream pie scene's pretty cool too because I just want an oatmeal cream pie that's the size of a house as well.
yeah, this movie is awesome.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And like I
And
said, it's my number one. So I mean,
I think the point that you bring up, like the iconography of the set design, it that's to me what made this movie. Like to make it realistic that these kids had been shrunk down. Like they had to do a phenomenal job at the set work, and they did. Like they knock it out of the park with
yeah,
this, and um, it's definitely what I think of the most when I think about this movie. Is like
is the set.
sleeping in a Lego.
Yeah,
Like that's freaking cool.
and I know that there's so many better movies that came out this year, but this movie is one that I've been attached to for so long that I like me not having it like even on my list, but I mean I have it at number one
Mhm.
because I in like whenever I was writing out the movies that came out this year, I was like uh, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids just kept coming back as something that I watch a ton. I mean, I let me put it to you this way: whenever Disney Plus launched a couple years ago,
Mhm.
the first movie I watched, which I owned on DVD, which I owned, I put on like late at night. I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The first day I had it, I everything else is just icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
Uh, every single little consequence that happens in this movie with Rick Moranis whenever he's cleaning up the attic after coming home after not getting the grant or whatever,
Mhm.
and he's just sweeping his attic because something happened. Well, also he also kind of went nuts on his machine, but he's cleaning up that small little thing for him is just giant consequences for the kids, and we see that parallel multiple times in this movie, like the sprinkler scene when
Mhm.
Amy almost drowns. We just see that this they're watering their already overwatered grass, and she almost drowns because of it. Also, we get the line French class, which
Mm-hmm.
comes back later. But
It does.
uh, but like I said, also this is a microscope. I know. It's just such a great like whenever they bring up the Thompsons to explain what happened.
Yes.
And he wants to show him the couch. This is a microscope. I know. It's just it's so great.
Oh,
But
what a
also,
fun movie. What
yeah,
a fun freaking movie.
yeah. I have zero regrets putting it at number one, which, like I said, it like there's so many great movies this year, which I
Mhm.
don't think this is going to be your number one. So I'm going to say it out loud. And it didn't make my list. Steel Magnolias, great movie, amazing performances.
Yep.
I would still take Honey, I Shrunk the Kids over this any day.
I'm
So
with you. I'm with you. I think it's a fantastic movie. Just didn't make my list.
yeah. So I'm curious, what is your number one?
Well, I would like to state though, before I say my number one, counting it, uh, between our lists, 7 of the top 10 movies of 1989 made our lists. That's a pretty good track record for us. Uh, we'll go over the ones that didn't make our list here in a moment, but for me, the best movie of 1989 is another sequel. Uh, this film has one of the most iconic soundtracks of all time. It has one of my favorite father-son relationships of all time. Even though that father-son pairing makes no sense whatsoever. Um, it brings back Nazis. It brings back Christian artifacts with a stellar John Williams soundtrack.
I'll give you that.
It is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It is far and above my favorite film of 1989. In fact, I watched it earlier this week. I did not bring it up in our discussion about what we watched, but it was Labor Day weekend, so there was an Indiana Jones marathon on. So I got to watch Raiders and Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade this week. And to this day, I don't know if it gets better than Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade out of that trilogy. And I love Raiders. Raiders is brilliant. Uh, but there's just something about this movie that I just can't deny loving. This was the highest grossing film of 1989, which, when talking about some of the other films in that top 10, that is impressive, considering the pedigree of some of these other films. But it follows up from the Temple of Doom, which was kind of the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, in the fact that it was the dark middle one that had to do with child slavery. So we follow that up with the Holy Grail and Sean Connery as Harrison Ford's father. We also get River Phoenix in this movie
Yeah.
as a young Indiana Jones, which is a ton of fun at the beginning.
Yes, I love that part.
The transition from the guy giving young Indy the hat, the fedora,
Mm-hmm.
and it coming up, and then it being Harrison Ford in the rain getting punched.
Yeah.
And that he's the Cross of Coronado. He's finally gotten it back, but not so much. He belongs in a museum, we find out. But then we also get my favorite line in this entire movie: "The floor's on fire."
I will say I haven't watched this movie since I was a kid because I never like I've hated Sean Connery since I was a little kid. I've
Okay.
hated him, and anything that he was in, I truly hated. Uh, I don't know why I had that like the horrible like uh, well, he's also not a good person, but so I'm not really resentful of my choice, but I've never liked Sean Connery. I like actually my
He's
favorite.
also dead now, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Like
my
he's dead.
my favorite indie movie growing up was actually Temple of Doom,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's kind of the more fantastical of the three, right?
Yeah.
So
I get that. I get that. But I
no, I mean I'm not going to rain on your parade.
yeah.
I'm not going to do it
We get Sala back in this. John Rhys Davies returns as
from
the
the first. Yeah.
excavator from Cairo from Raiders, which is super cool. Harrison Ford just being amazing as Indiana. People could sit here and talk about how much they love Han Solo and like Han Solo's their favorite. Like Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. I don't care what anybody says. Like Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones for me. Uh, there's something like obviously
He's the president to me.
get off my plane. Uh, uh, he's this globe-trotting dude who gets these fantastical pieces.
Ruined archaeology for everybody else for the rest of the remainder of history.
1,000% ruined it. If you're looking for truth, go check out the philosophy class. This is the pursuit of fact, of history. No, I love that it went back to the things that made Raiders so freaking good. Like I said, you get the Nazis as the bad guys. If you don't like killing Nazis and destroying Nazis in your films, then I don't know.
Out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Nazis equal bad.
Yeah,
they're the bad guys.
Yes, like there's no good Nazi. You're a Nazi.
Yeah,
you're a Nazi.
There's horse riding and
tanks.
gunfights and tanks and
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, there is.
I don't know.
No, it's Jehovah starts with an I. We also get the tried and true meme of he chose poorly.
And then also, you were named after the dog, or something like that.
Or Indiana was the dog's name.
Indiana was the dog's name. Yeah,
I like that dog. No, it's a fun cap on the end of that trilogy. Yes, I know we ended up getting Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yes, I know James Mangold's Indy 5 will be coming out.
And you'll be there
in the future.
Opening night.
I'll be there opening night. Crystal Skull gets a bad rap. It's a fine movie. It's just not a good Indiana Jones film.
Yeah.
But this one's fantastic. We even get the scene of Indy going into Nazi Germany to get the book back, and freaking Adolf Hitler signing the Grail book, which is just a super cool scene in my opinion, like the way that it's handled. So this movie has everything that I want it to show. I absolutely adore this film. It's my number one film of 1989 and well deserved in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
we even get to see a Nazi get thrown out of a Zeppelin, Drew.
I don't remember. It's been a while. I'll watch it after I watch The Burbs.
Gotcha.
Because, like I said, I rented it from my local video store. Do that if you guys can.
Yeah. So go back through our top 10 list, and we'll do this real quick. 10 Parenthood, 9 Major League, 8 Lethal Weapon, 7 Uncle Buck, 6 The Burbs, 5 National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 4 Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 3 Back to the Future 2, 2 Dead Poets Society, and number 1 Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
And for me, number 10 was Society. Number 9 was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Number 8, The Little Mermaid. Number 7, Glory. I got a good one in there. Number 6, The Burbs. Number 5, Ghostbusters 2. Number 4, Back to the Future 2. Number 3, Uncle Buck. Number 2, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And number 1, Honey, comma, I Shrunk the Kids. It's been a long day, okay? It's
Yeah.
Labor Day, and I'm going to be editing this all night.
Some honorable mentions. We did not have the number 2 highest grossing film
Is that Look
of
Who's
the year.
Talking?
No, that is 1989's Batman by Tim Burton.
Okay.
Neither of us had that. Look Who's Talking was number 4, and neither of us had the 10th highest grossing film, Born on the 4th of July, starring Tom Cruise.
A couple of those are on a list of movies I should have seen.
Yes, same here. Actually, just one of them. Born on the 4th of July. I've seen it. It's just been forever. The top 10 highest grossing films of '89. 1 was Indiana Jones. 2, Batman. 3, Back to the Future Part 2. 4, Look Who's Talking. 5, Dead Poets Society. 6, your, I believe, number 9 movie, The Little Mermaid. Lethal Weapon 2, number 7. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was number 8 at the box office in 1989. Ghostbusters 2 was number 9. And then again, Born on the 4th of July was number 10. Some other honorable mentions. Neither of us talked about Field of Dreams except for that small moment when we were talking about Major League.
I have never watched it.
Oh, good Lord.
And I chose, it was available to watch on Peacock. I chose not to.
You're all right. It's okay.
You also, hey, I mean, you and I, we have something in common. It's called, we're part of the Dead Dad Club.
Yes.
I did not watch that movie before I joined the Dead Dad Club. And that's probably the reason why I haven't watched this movie.
Then.
So
Roadhouse came out in 1989, and neither of us talked about that. That was Swayze at his best. He did rip a man's throat out in that movie.
Can't eat.
Can't eat. I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that The Abyss didn't show up.
I never watched it.
Okay.
It's part of Here's my list of. It's a pretty short list. Field of Dreams, The Abyss, Do the Right Thing. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's good.
I love that movie.
It's Spike Lee. I'm sure it's great. I had the option to watch it because it is on Peacock as well. Do the Right Thing, Born on the 4th of July, which we mentioned, Harlem Nights, which I haven't seen, UHF, which is Weird Al. I do love Weird Al.
So good.
I think I have seen that movie, but I haven't seen it since I was a child. The Wizard, starring, I believe that's River Phoenix too, isn't it?
No, that's Fred Savage.
Okay. But The Cook, the Thief, his wife and her lover is a movie I've always wanted to watch because it's a one shot, and they did it like 4 times, but it's a one shot movie and it's like an hour and 40 minutes. So those are the movies I haven't seen. Like I said, like The Abyss is part of that. I know that's James Cameron. I should watch it. Yep. I just haven't gotten around to it.
The Wizard made my so bad they're still bad list. For those of you that don't know, Wizard is about the Nintendo glove, pretty much.
Yeah, the Power Glove.
The Power Glove. The other movie, there were only 2 movies on my so bad they're still bad list. The other movie, ironically enough, coming from me, William Shatner's direction of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely atrociously awful. I think that list of you need to watch them. You definitely should get on that. We also, neither of us had When Harry Met Sally on our list, which is surprising.
Okay. Well. I've been wanting to talk about this and I've been holding my tongue. I watched it for the first time before we recorded last week. It did not make my top 10.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a fine movie and I really like it. And I liked it when I was watching it. I've thought about that movie quite a bit over the last 2 weeks. I just really, really enjoy both Meg Ryan's performance and
Billy
Crystal's performance. I really enjoy their performance. I didn't know it took place over like 2 decades as well. So, but I've really grown to like that. It was the first time I had ever watched it. I had never had a reason to watch it before, and I really loved When Harry Met Sally. Another movie I watched that I had never seen before, which has a really weird plot point of tax evasion. Say Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Was not expecting a tax evasion
No.
subplot.
Or Frasier's dad to be the one doing the tax evasion.
Yeah, yeah, stealing from old people too,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
But
Turner and Hooch is also from this
yes,
year, and I love that movie. It was just outside my top 10. Driving Miss Daisy, I think, is super overrated in my opinion,
yeah,
but
it won the Academy Award that year, but yeah, it's
it
not
does
great.
have a delightful performance from Morgan Freeman, though.
Yes.
And then, yeah, inexplicably, the fourth highest grossing film of this year was Look Who's Talking, which, in my opinion, is in my so bad they're good category, because it's a terrible movie that for some reason is still super fun to watch.
All Dogs Go to Heaven also came out this year too, which
Oh,
I don't remember exactly everything in that movie, but I remember when I watched it a couple years ago, I was like, oh, I don't remember being this traumatized.
yeah, it's traumatizing, seriously. Do you remember the movie Little Monsters with Howie Mandel?
I've never been able to find it. Oh,
Okay.
no. I'm thinking I'm thinking of Freaked starring Alex Winter. I can't find that one.
Yeah.
But I've never cared about Little Monsters personally. Or
Yeah.
little yeah, whatever.
Little Monsters, yeah.
Okay.
Fred Savage and Howie Mandel. Basically, the story of Lee Corso came out this year as well. It's called Weekend at Bernie's.
I've never watched it.
It's an experience. It's a so bad it's good movie.
Yeah.
Check it out. Tango and Cash also came out. I know.
Oh, did it? I didn't see that on there.
Buddy cop comedies are not really your purview.
No, this one's Stallone and Kurt Russell.
Stallone and Kurt Russell. Odd fact about this: Kurt Russell's character Cash,
okay,
was initially offered to Patrick Swayze, but Patrick Swayze turned it down in order to do Roadhouse.
Thank God.
My fun thought experiment is, what if Patrick Swayze had been in Tango and Cash and Kurt Russell had been in Roadhouse? I think each film would have been just a little bit worse than they are.
Yeah.
But I would still very much watch them both.
Yeah, probably.
And then
imagine Kurt Russell in Roadhouse. That'd be a so much different movie.
Less roundhouse kicks.
Probably.
More punching, less roundhouse kicks.
More headbutts too,
Yeah.
probably.
And then a far inferior sequel came out this year, another Chevy Chase film. Fletch Lives came out in 1989, which is not nearly as good as the original Fletch.
Yeah. Also, Halloween 5 came out this year, as well as Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Child, probably the worst one, but actually a really great kill in that movie. One really great kill in that movie.
I think that movie is by far my least favorite of the entire franchise.
5 probably is, yeah, because I think after 5 we get New Nightmare, which restart because I don't think
basically like a meta soft reboot type.
Yeah. And then we get the remake starring Jackie, and then yeah. But yeah, I think obviously the best Nightmare one is 1. 2 is good for different reasons because of what's come out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 and 4 are really great. So it's a good series. It's just it has some real bad stinkers. So Troop Beverly Hills.
It did.
Troop Beverly Hills came out this year.
I grew up with that. It's actually a fun. It's a fun movie.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Shelley Long, and I love Shelley Long. Pet Cemetery, because Dead is better. It's not a terrible movie. I mean it's got some decent acting in it, and it's one of the better Stephen King adaptations as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'll take
And I
that.
had mentioned Steel Magnolias came out this year, which really great. I love Steel Magnolias. Like I said, it has amazing performances throughout. Everybody is putting on a clinic in that movie. So
Mhm.
yeah. But The Fly 2 also came out, which is another body horror movie, which I cannot watch because like at the like they I will give them this. They kind of like the show The Boys, they give you an out
Yes.
because like one of the earliest scenes in the movie is a dog who's been kind of transformed into a part fly as well or something. It's conversion thing didn't work, and we see a mutilated dog. So they gave me an out pretty quick. I
Real
watched the
quick.
rest of the movie, but it was horrible. Can't watch that kind of stuff.
I
All right.
get it, man.
Hey, any other movies you want to talk about?
No, 1989 was a fun year, and I think it was a good year for sequels, oddly enough.
Yeah, really good year for sequels. Great original IP that came out this year though.
Yeah.
So, what did you have on my list that didn't make it?
So I thought you would have Indiana Jones on
Okay,
there. So I had that. I thought you would have Major League on yours.
it just
Um,
missed, just
and
missed.
I thought you would have The Abyss, but
Okay,
I got 7 out of 10 for you.
I got 6 because I got Back to the Future 2, Dead Poet Society, Indiana Jones, Uncle Buck, Christmas Vacation, and Bill and Ted. I thought you would have Ghostbusters 2 on there. I thought you would have Batman on there. I thought you would have Roadhouse and Field of Dreams.
Gotcha.
So I got 6 and you got 7. So
I think that makes us like tied now.
I think so. Yeah. I only have the last 4 weeks on, so like recorded. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. Do you want to tell them what we're doing next week?
Whew. Next week starts our journey into 2004,
I haven't
and
even looked.
I've got a cursory look at what has come out that year, and whew,
This can't be a great year.
it's not. It's not. It's got some movies that I really enjoy. Let me tell you what came out in March of this year in the same week, and this will tell you all you need to know about 2004. The week of March 20th that year, the films The Lady Killers and Jersey Girl came out in theaters the same time.
Yeah.
Um, my least favorite Coen Brothers film and my least favorite Kevin Smith film. So
I mean, okay,
uh
it's also the worst Cohen movie, but that's like it's still probably decent enough to watch though. Like compared to other people's like bad movies.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've actually never seen The Lady Killers, so
Gotcha. Uh Interesting movies that came out this year as always. I'm intrigued to see where some of these end up for you.
shit.
I think I probably already have my number 1 and number 2 movies picked out, but I am going to rewatch some of these for sure.
I mean, my number one might be really stupid. It might be really
We'll
stupid.
find out. We'll find out in a couple weeks for sure.
All right, hey, well,
You got anything else?
no, I just want you guys to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find us on our social medias. We have the show Twitter, which is was_the podcast. Nick's Twitter is,
At Superman's _ Papa.
and my Twitter and Instagram is Andrew LZ Com. And we would really like for you guys to talk to us, follow us, do all the things. Would be really cool. Like we want to continue to grow this podcast because it's a lot of fun, and I mean we're going to be doing it regardless. So why don't you come along and have some fun with us? Did we already tell them what year we're going to? Oh yeah, we
Absolutely.
did. Yeah. Because we had a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got a truly awful memory. So, but
You're all right.
yeah, be a lot of fun if you guys would follow us, rate,
Absolutely.
review us, do all the things, and hopefully this recording came out all right because I ran out of space on my computer. So I really hope all of this is just part of the same file. All right, Nick. Mitch Trubisky was named the starter for the Steelers. Nick, I will see you next Tuesday.
Get vaccinated.
That was a little bit unhinged, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not that bad.